Hello to you once again, good friends, and welcome to our Sunday series. In very recent days, a bilingual sign, has appeared on the main road to Machynlleth, just this side of Furness. And what it says is, "A oes gobaith," is there hope? Now, I presume that this is a question directed at the participants in the COP26 conference in Glasgow. Is there hope that our politicians will do the right thing? Is there hope regarding climate change? Is there hope for our planet because there is no planet B? Whilst there's much debate and extensive media commentary, the chief point which is being emphasised time and time again is that science will save us. All that's necessary is to get some very bright people around a table, and they will come up with the scientific advances that the world needs in order to be saved. So, have faith in science. There are two things missing from that statement which create lingering concerns. The first is that science itself is something neutral. In fact, it is science that has got us into the climate mess that we're currently in. Science has developed the harnessing of fossil fuels. Science has caused the Industrial Revolution. Science has developed the car industry and the aviation industry. Science has been behind the destruction of forests to develop palm oil plantations. It's rather ironic then that we're being encouraged to put our faith in science when that's caused so much of the trouble. The second thing to bear in mind is that science is in the hands of human beings, and they don't have a brilliant track record in these matters. In 1962, the MAD policy was developed. MAD stands for Mutually Assured Destruction. That is, if you try to annihilate me with nuclear weapons, then I have the capacity to annihilate you. This way, we'll all die together. 60 years later, after the adoption of that policy, it still underlies the national defence strategy of several countries worldwide. 9 countries possess some 13,000 warheads, and they have enough capacity to annihilate each other and the rest of us. Are you really happy that the future is in the hands of scientists and politicians? So is there hope if human beings are in control? If we're looking for hope in that direction, then we're facing the wrong way. Perhaps you're familiar with the road from Machynlleth to Delivery. Driving along it, you'll see nothing but a long, steep hill ahead of you for several miles. However, if you turn around and drive on that same road from Delivery to Machynlleth, then you'll see breathtaking views. On the way to Delivery, you have your back to the views. On the way back from Delivery, the views are spread out before you. Is there hope? Yes, immense hope, transformative hope, but we need to look in the right direction. We need to be looking in the opposite direction, from looking to scientists and politicians. There's a folk song called Bells of Norwich. You can understand why that title appeals to me. It was composed by Sydney Carter, and its theme is a famous quote from Julian of Norwich. She was a woman of prayer, and she coined this statement: "All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well." Now, Julian was an anchorite, which means that she was walled up inside her cell about 12 foot square. so that she could devote herself to uninterrupted prayer. She would have been cared for by a couple of servants who saw to her bodily needs, but otherwise she would have been cut off from the world. So in a way, the quotation, "all shall be well," would have been easy for her to say. After all, she had no worries. She didn't have to mend the roof after a storm, or cut the hedge, or go out to work, or prepare the meals, or raise the children, or be concerned about international affairs. Her life was one of isolation and prayer. Yes, it was. But at least she was facing in the right direction, and that's what counts. There's a verse in the Psalms which says, "Those who look to the Lord are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame." Is there hope? Yes, when we look to the Lord, when we look in the right direction. There was a fabulous period of time at Mount Sinai when Moses was there with the children of Israel, and he was repeatedly going back and forth to the Lord's presence. When he came back from being with the Lord, his face was shining, but he wasn't aware of it. It's as a result of that event in Moses' life that we now have halos around the heads of all of the saints in stained glass windows. That's where the idea comes from. There was a radiance in the man, a glow, which isn't in the skin. It can't be sprayed on. It came from the heart. The people who saw this in Moses were disturbed by it so much that they couldn't listen to what he said because they were distracted by his appearance. So he put a veil over his face to hide it. But then when he went to talk to the Lord, he took the veil off again, so the radiance was constantly being topped up. Was he an anchorite like Julian of Norwich, all cut off from the real world? No, not at all. He was leading thousands of difficult people who were all over him one moment and all against him the next. He was having to face their criticisms and demands, but he was carrying all of them and their complaints to the Lord and coming out of his presence radiant. So may we. Paul picks up on this theme and he says that little by little, that is what's happening in the life of every Christian who goes in search of the presence of God. Just like Moses, we don't need to put on any kind of veil or covering over our face when we go to meet the Lord. The veil has already been taken off our understanding. So, says Paul, we who, with unveiled faces, all reflect the Lord's glory, are being transformed into his likeness with ever increasing glory, which comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit. This radiance is not a radiance which comes from us, but it comes from the Lord in us. It's a reflected glory. Just like our skin glows after we've been sitting in the sun, so our characters glow when we've been sitting in the Lord's presence. Charles Wesley put it like this in his hymn, "Love Divine, All Loves Excelling." Changed from glory unto glory, till in heaven we take our place, till we cast our crowns before thee, lost in wonder, love, and praise. I've watched many people grow into this kind of radiance as the years have passed. Some of them are people that you would not have predicted would be spiritual, but they have become mature, godly, Christ-like. Is there hope? Oes Gobaith? Absolutely yes. But we still haven't answered the big question hanging over COP26. If there's no planet B, then does planet A have a future? The answer is yes, but only for the time being. Planet A is not eternal. Obviously, it's not. One day, the sun will burn out, and the earth will be uninhabitable, unless for some reason it's already become uninhabitable before the sun burns out. Long ago, we're told that Abraham went in search of something more lasting than this world. He made his home in the promised land, we read, like a stranger in a foreign country, for he was looking forward to the city with foundations whose architect and builder is God. Abraham was looking for a permanent home, an eternal home, and that is what we Christians have lying ahead of us. Interestingly, the Bible contradicts the statement that there is no planet B, because it tells us to look forward to the day when there is a new heaven and a new earth. That will be the place which we inhabit when we leave this planet A. This doesn't mean that care for planet A is irrelevant, for we still owe it to our children to ensure that it's in good condition for them to inherit. But it does provide a good correction to the anxiety-ridden debate, which suggests that unless we can get global warming under control, then all is lost. All is not lost. We are citizens of the future. So look to him and be radiant.